Where should I put my hands?
What do I do with my hands?
Do I... Hands. You're having your photo taken and you're struggling to find a place to put your hands. And this is your headshot, so it's supposed to be about your face, not your hands. Hands are actually the size of our face. So if they're not minimized through posing and placement, they can look kind of like giant Hulk smash hands in a photo. So I'm here to give you a couple tips on what to do with your hands during your headshot session. Posing your hands should do two things. First, they should make the whole photo look natural. And second, they should make your hands look a little smaller, or at least not oversized. So we're gonna go over a couple quick example poses for some simple headshots. If you're crossing your arms, your hands can end up front and center. Don't place them both on top of your arms like this, but tuck them comfortably so that you only see part of each of your hands. Another pose that can draw attention to your hand if you're not careful is placing it on your hip. Make sure that your fingers are nice and bent and curved instead of a straight line, which can point toward your waistline. And this also only works if your shoulder is in a nice relaxed position. I call this one the TED Talk, and there are a million ways for it to look awkward because your hands are basically front and centered. So make sure your hands and your fingers and your wrists are nice and curved. You're making those curved lines and not straight. So curved lines like this, and not straight lines like this. Try tucking one of your hands into the other by pinching the pinky of one hand with the middle finger of your other, or by gently grasping the whole thumb of one hand with your other hand. Here's an easy one. Just hide your hands by jamming them in your pockets. Now, some photographers like to leave a little bit of thumb out to show that there's some hand beyond the wrist, but I'm not a fan because the thumb turns into a straight line and straight lines lead the eye. And here you're just pointing at your crotch, which is not ideal. Here's a sitting pose. Leaning your elbow onto your knee is a great way to get a nice relaxed look in your shoulder, but watch your fingers. Sometimes we can end up with some fingers being bent and some fingers being straight. You wanna make sure all of your fingers are doing the same thing. And bent is better than straight. Straight, again, we're looking at those straight lines that are gonna start leading the eye somewhere where we don't want them to lead them. Bent looks nice and relaxed, so kind of curve your fingers, bend your wrist, get a nice bend. Also, it might look better if your hand is turned a little bit to the side, so the side of your hand is facing the camera instead of the front. That'll also help make it look nice and small. And if you've got both of your arms up, both of your hands together, make sure they're not right next to each other, because then it could just look like a giant hand. Try to stagger them so that one is higher than the other. Or take that second one to your hip, or your thigh, or just straight out of the picture completely. If you're having trouble getting a natural look to your hands on your own, try one of our two favorites. The first one is the fingernail grab. Just kind of pinch your fingernails with one hand and kind of curve your hand under. So you're just kind of resting and relaxing and pinching your nails. The second is called rolling the boogie. Imagine you just picked your nose and you got a wee booger in between your fingers and you're just gonna kind of roll it back and forth. This is what they do on the cover of GQ a lot. Just roll the boogie.
This is gross.
And on that note, remember that these are guidelines, not rules. Try something out. If it doesn't work, delete it. You're just kind of like rolling it with your hands. This is used on the cover of GQ a lot.
Did I redirect in time?
Did he come into the shot?